Welcome to Olympus High School for a high school rewind game of the week. I am Dusty Lister. Thanks for joining us. Our matchup, the Orem Tigers and the Olympus Titans. Welcome everybody. So glad to have you along with us. This is Region 7 battle between Olympus and Orem, and it should be a dandy. Tonight's game is going to be a real lot of playoff implications. Olympus comes into the night looking to win and clinch the #1 seed from Region 7. Orem looking for the upset and revenge win that would force a tie between Olympus and Orem. And Orem has one more game to play. They'll play against Skyline next week. So a lot of implication to this, some outstanding players. And let's first start with the Orem Tigers. Orem dropped the first 2 games in region this season, but since then they've rattled off 5 straight wins and coming tonight, as we mentioned, a chance to tie Olympus at the top of the region. Coin toss and all the things we'll have to go into the middle of that. We'll get it figured out, but it is a major implications. A couple of names to keep in mind tonight. Dalton Nixon, many of you know him. Dalton committed to Brigham Young University. He's an outstanding player, having a terrific season for Orem. He's had to play well tonight, but he's had to have help from Cooper Holt and also from Quinn Peters offensively to help him keep pace the high-paced Olympus Titans. Olympus comes in losing or snap after having their 12-game winning streak snapped right here on High School Rewind. See how they bounce back just a few nights later, and they'll expect them to play well tonight. Also up and down the floor, it is senior night for the Titans. A couple of names to keep in mind. Alec Monson, who's averaging 23 points a game. He's been outstanding this season for Olympus. And also Jake Lindsay, he's his running mate, averaging 18 points a game. He's had to play well, and a third scorer is at to show up. Got the Williams brothers have to play well. We'll see who's going to bring in that scoring. As Coach Barnes, he's going to want to speed up the pace. As Olympus likes to get up and down the floor, Orem likes to slow things down and grind it out. That'll be a key to tonight's game. Well, you know our teams, our players, and a couple keys. When we come back, I'll be the opening tip-off. You are watching High School Rewind only on Xfinity On Demand. And we're about set to get started here in this Region 7 tilt with Olympus and Orem. Orem in their road blues. Dalton Nixon, number 33, going to jump it for the Tigers. And for the Olympus Titans, number 21, Jake Lindsay will step in. We'll get you the starters as we get started here. Big game tonight in Region 7. Lindsay a little premature twice. And the opening tip-off, controlled by Williams, hands to Holler. And we'll start with the Olympus Titans. Into the front court is Connor Holler, the senior guard. Here's Jake Lindsay, gives it up to Alex Williams. Now outside with Spencer Williams. Holler to Lindsay. Lindsay backs his man down outside, Williams for 3. And that's off the mark. Rebound tipped around and taken by Dalton Nixon. Hands to Quinn Peters. Peters into the front court. Cooper Holt on the far side. Another player we talked about in the open. Number 24, Ethan Chatterley. And then along the baseline, big fella, number 55, Richard Harward. Drop it down inside to Nixon. Nixon off the window and good. Dalton Nixon having quite the senior season. Lindsay for 3. And Jake Lindsay from downtown. The first bucket, full court press on from Olympus. We talked about in the open, the Olympus want to push the tempo in this game as Orem looks to slow things down, and Olympus wants to speed it up. Here's Chatterley outside to Nixon, give it up to Quinn Peters. Peters inside, Harward, swatted away by Jake Lindsay. Williams hands off to Lindsay. Lindsay going the other way, swatted away by Harward. Monson with it, outside to Williams. Spencer Williams, now to Alex Williams. Wide open 3. And back rims it, and Nixon with the board. Hands to Quinn Peters. Peters hands off to Cooper Holt. Holt gives Peters, just 2 seasons ago, was the Orem Tigers claiming the 4A state championship. Holt, Nixon, Peters, they're all sophomores. Got bounced in the first round of the playoffs last year as a 1 seed by Logan, and looking to right the wrongs the last season. Nixon into the lane, floated up, and it rolls in. Nixon 4, Olympus 3. 5:55 remaining in the first quarter. Alex Williams gives up to Spencer Williams, drops it in to Monson. And to see, yes, they call it on Monson. First team foul on Olympus, and we'll go back with Orem. Hold inbounds to Nixon, full court pressure, got that tip. Hold across the timeline to Chatterley. Chatterley will back it out and hand to Holt. Here's Chatterley, gives it to Quinn Peters. And Peters will set up the offense for Orem. 5.5 remaining now, inside to Holt. Holt trying to go at Lindsay. We're going to get Spencer Williams with the foul, second team foul. No, pardon, that goes on Lindsay, second team foul on Olympus. Good crowd on hand tonight. Inbound to Peters. And Quinn Peters from outside. And it's 7-3, Orem with 5:20 remaining in the first. Holler cross court to Lindsay. Now Alex Williams, he'll pull for three. And it rims off, giving him plenty of room to see if he can overcome the mental block here as Peters gives up to Chatterley. Peters will set up the offense for Orem. Hands to Cooper Holt. Now Ethan Chatterley with a three-man weave. Peters outside to Holt, drop it into Harward. Harward working on Monson, and that's a size advantage for Orem. Harward goes right around him, nice footwork. Coach Barnes wanted a three in the key, didn't get it, and it's now 9-3, Orem. Williams cross court to Monson. Monson gonna draw the foul on Cooper Holt. First team foul on Orem. Holler inbounds to Monson, back to Holler. Holler terminates in the lane, he drug his foot, and that's a travel, and we'll go back with Orem. Always wonder about the emotions and nerves of senior night, and thus far Olympus just a little bit rattled to get started. Quickly breaking the press, here's Peters to the cup, can't finish, rebound to Alec Monson. Going the other way now with Jake Lindsay. Lindsay working on Peters, pull up, won't go, rebound taken away, Monson picks up the loose ball and lays it in, and it's now 9-5. And it's still on the inbound. They're going to call it off of Williams. We'll go back with Orem. Halfway through the first quarter. Full court pressure still on from Orem. Get it in to Nixon. Nixon races into the front court. Hands off to Cooper Holt. Now set it up with Quinn Peters. Peters hit the three just moments ago. Drop it inside, Dalton Nixon working on Bess. Nixon back out to Peters for three. And Quinn Peters, second tray of the quarter, gives Orem a 12-5 lead. Holler hands off the cross. Back to Lindsay for three. Jake Lindsay lights it up from the outside, and it's now 12-8. Peters to Chatterley, now to Nixon. Outside to Cooper Holt, down the baseline, Holt to the hole. Swatted away by Crofts. Beffs hands off to Lindsay, and out into the front court with the Titans. Lindsay picking his way down the lane, goes against Harward. Tiptoes the baseline, outside Holler. Holler now to Crofts, here's Bess. Bess, now Monson. Monson will pull for three. Alec Monson from the outside. Blows the smoke off of his hand as he hits it. And just like that, it's 12-11. Cooper Holt inbound, gets it into Nixon. Hands back to Holt, now across to Chatterley. 1 point game, a great start for Orem, but the deep ball is a great equalizer for Coach Matt Barnes and the Titans. Hand off to Holt. Now Chatterley. Peters now over to Holt. Holt driving on Lindsay. Terminates in the lane, try to get out to Nixon. Picked up by Monson. Monson into the front court. Back to Holler. Holler for three. And it rims out, a rebound to Harward. He gives off to Quinn Peters, and Peters will slow it up, bring it into the front court. 2 minutes now remaining in the first quarter. A little spurt there from Olympus. Peters now Holt for a deep three, and Cooper Holt front rims it. Harward with the board and can't get the bucket, gets his own rebound and lays it up and in. Nice work on the offensive glass by Harward. And it's now 14-11, Orem. 1:35 now on the clock here in the first quarter. Holler on the baseline, and it crawls out 3/4 of the way down. Comes out, Monson for three, and we're tied. Alec Monson with his second three of the quarter. Lindsay has 2 threes, Monson with 2 threes, and we're tied at 14. We expect a little bit of a playoff atmosphere tonight, and also game plans from both these coaches. and we get close to the playoffs. 1 minute remaining in a quarter means we hold the ball out and take a final shot. We'll see if Coach Holt does that here. Harward outside to Peters. Peters drop it into Nixon. Power dribble. Nixon took the bump. Couldn't finish. And Nixon will go to the line to shoot 2. Nixon made the first. And the second. 16-14 with 50 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Lindsay comes off the floor for Meacham. Here's Seth Cross. Now Alec Monson. Haller. Meacham. Here's Bess. Now I'm back to Haller. 30 seconds remaining in the quarter. Here's Alec Monson. Pump fake 3, pull up 3. Doesn't go, and the rebound tracked down by Meacham, and a foul on Ethan Chatterley. And that will be the second team foul on Orem. 23.9 remaining in the first quarter as Haller backs it out near midcourt and looking for the final shot for Olympus. And what a fun first quarter. Big lead in the early part for Orem, and Olympus came storming back with threes. As we're now at 5 seconds. 3 seconds. Here's Monson. Tries to get on the Cross. Cross can't finish. It's still loose, and that'll do it for the first quarter. And at the end of 1, it's Orem 16, Olympus 14. Start of the second quarter and a 2-point lead for the Tigers. Here's Nixon. Outside to Chatterley. Now he'll hand to Quinn Peters. Up and down first quarter. Nixon had 6 points in the quarter as Cooper Holt, still cold, going the other way with Jake Lindsay. Lindsay gives it up to Haller. Haller terminates in the key, got to get rid of it, and it's picked off. Going the other way with Cooper Holt. He gives up to Quinn Peters. Peters now hands to Chatterley, and Chatterley will back it out and set up the offense. Quinn Peters had 2 threes in the quarter. So he holds up top. Drop it in to Nixon. Nixon working on Williams, and that's an advantage for Orem. Can't finish. Harward at the board, and a jump ball. Possession arrow belongs to Olympus. Down the floor now with Jake Lindsay and the Olympus Titans. Lindsay straight away with Seth Cross. Cross down the boulevard. Off the window and good. And the smallest on the floor squeezed through the little hole and gets the bucket. 16 all. Nixon for 3. Off the front of the iron. Rebound, Chatterley. Chatterley takes the bump, can't finish. Harward with the board, and Harward with the bucket. Richard Harward. Quickly going the other way. Here's Spencer Williams. And Williams draws the foul, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2. 13th foul on Orem. Williams missed the first free throw. He's got one more. Second one rims out as well. Nixon hands to Peters. And the Tigers will walk it across the timeline. 6:30 remaining in the half. Drop it inside Nixon. Outside Chatterley for 3. And Chatterley's 3 goes in and out. Quick on the run now with Lindsay. Lindsay down the lane, off the window. Can't get it to finish. Rebound to Holt. Hands to Quinn Peters. Here's Chatterley. Back to Peters. Peters down the lane to the window. And a nice finish by Quinn Peters. 20-16, the Tigers lead. On the baseline, Williams inside to Monson. Took the bump, didn't get the foul. Harward at the board, hands to Peters. 5:55 remaining in the half. Peters in the corner to the Holt. Back up top to Peters. Game high, 8 points. Cross court, Chatterley back to Peters, looking inside to Nixon. Faces up on Williams. Nixon, cross court, Chatterley again for 3. And this time it goes down. Chatterley missed his last one, got that one to go. And it's now a 7-point lead once again for Orem, 23-16. 5:20 remaining in the half. Spencer Williams for 3. And rattles it in. Back down to 4, 23-19. Full court press still on from Olympus. Nixon gets it to Peters. Racing in the front court. Back to Chatterley, looking for his second. Ethan Chatterley from downtown in back-to-back possessions. 25-19. Nixon. Spencer Williams back out. to Lindsay. Lindsay give it up to Monson on the baseline, float it up and score it. Nice finish by Monson. Monson now with 10. Inbound to Nixon. Hands to Holt. Now Chatterley, who's got the hot hand right now for the Tigers. He'll hand back to Quinn Peters. Here's Harward. Now Peters. Here's Holt. Looking into Nixon. Got Nixon going against Monson. And Dalton Nixon. The nice finish inside. Nixon now with 8 points. Here's Jake Lindsay. Backs it out. Give it up to Spencer Williams halfway through the second quarter. Lindsay picking his way down the lane, and a foul on Richard Harward. That'll be the 14th foul on Orem and the first on Harward. Lindsay split the free throws, score now 28-22, and get it into Nixon and back off the full court pressure as Quinn Peters will walk it into the front court and give to Ethan Chatterley. Here's Harward. Now Peters. Here's Holt. Thought about three. Back to Peters. Drop it in. Nixon. Power dribble. Throw down. Dalton Nixon with a two-handed flush. Gives him 10 points in the half and an 8-point lead to his Tigers, 30-22. 3:25 remaining in the first half. Best now to Monson. Here's Spencer Williams into the corner. Haller. Haller in the lane, trying to get out to Monson, and it's out of bounds off of Monson. So after the turnover, down the floor with the Tigers. Chatterley hands to Peters. Here's Dalton Nixon into the corner. Back up top to Chatterley. And he'll give it back to Nixon. Now Quinn Peters. Peters hands off McCleary. And now Chatterley running some clock here. Are the Tigers down to 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Peters out to Chatterley. Hands to Nixon. Here's Harward inside Nixon. Nixon fall away, jump hook goes. Nice repertoire he's added to his game this year, Dalton Nixon. And it's now a 10-point lead for Orem. Here's Haller, now Bess. Bess up top with Williams. Williams terminates, trying to get out to Haller, and nearly picked up by McCleary. Back to Williams. Williams down the lane, around Harward, off the window, and good. Nice take by Spencer Williams, especially to get around the big fella. 32-24. And 5 seconds. McCleary didn't get it in, and we'll go back to Olympus. Haller. And now we've got a foul on the inbound. We'll see who it's on, but it's on Orem. That'll be the 15th foul on the Tigers. Foul goes on Quinn Peters. Haller again to inbound, gets it into Spencer Williams. Williams crossover in the lane, pirouette right into Harward, outside. Alex Williams for three. Leaves it short. Outside to Haller, and we'll reset. Spencer Williams, short, rebound to Haller. Haller in the key. Gets two offensive boards, and then gets the bucket. Trims it down to 6, 32-26. 1.5 remaining in the second quarter. And Orem gonna look to eat up more clock here. Nixon up top to Chatterley. Here's Nixon into the lane. Nixon outside McCleary. Back to Chatterley. Here's Nixon as we near the 1 minute mark. Long possession for the Tigers. Mentioned no shot clock in high school. Can hold it out for the last minute, 35 seconds as this possession started with. Down to 55 seconds. We mentioned we get close to the playoffs. This is what you could expect from playoff basketball. And we've been pretty vocal about our displeasure of a team being able to hold the ball for this long. And this is what happens. You lead to fouls and the defense isn't rewarded. And that's the 14th foul on Olympus. Peters to inbound. Try to lob it in the Nixon, tipped around, and Nixon got it now to Quinn Peters. Peters in the lane, give it up to Harward. Harward swatted away by Monson. Monson with the to Holler into the front court with the Titans. Holler down the lane, float it up and score it. Makes it a 4-point game. Holler with the steal on the inbound. Hands to Williams. Back to Holler. One shot. Holds up Coach Barnes with 20 seconds. Inbound somewhat reminded you of the Butler-Gonzaga game from last season. 10 seconds now. Holler off the screen of Williams. Now gets it to Monson. Monson goes right at Harvard. Doesn't get the foul, but gets the bucket. And that won't count if it goes. It already sounded. And what a first half of play. We head to the locker rooms. Orem 32, Olympus 30. Start of the second half, and the Tigers will start with the ball. 2-point lead for Orem. They had a 7-point lead late in there in the second quarter, and then Olympus did what they did at the beginning of the game. They stormed their way back into it as Nixon gets it outside to Peters. Now to Chatterley, who had 2 big threes there in the second quarter. Up top to Quinn Peters. Peters had 1 bucket in the second quarter, 2 threes in the first. Jacob Holler with him, and Holler was the one that closed out the half so well for Coach Barnes and the Titans. Inside Nixon, float it up and score it. Dalton Nixon now has 14 points. And back to Williams, now Jake Lindsey. Lindsey get up to Monson. Monson reverse it and score it. And 1. I see they count the bucket. The whistle came. It'll put Monson at the line. They counted the bucket for Monson at the line looking for the 3-point play. And no, he crossed the line. Lane violation on Alec Monson, wave off the free throw. Inbound in to Nixon. Full court pressure backed off by Olympus. Monson now with 14 points. He and Nixon tied for game highs. Drop it into Peters, working on Holler. Spin base, give to Harward. Harward outside, Chatterley for 3. Chatterley's got his 3rd triple. Ethan Chatterley from downtown, and it's a 5-point lead for the Tigers. Lindsey up top to Holler, cross court to Williams. Williams terminates and hands back to Monson. Here's Alex Williams, and Spencer Williams cut off. Stops short, turnover, and we'll go the other way. 6.5 remaining in the third quarter. Here's Quinn Peters. Working on Holler. Peters to the hole. Can't finish. Rebound to Holler. Holler on the run. Holler down the lane. Had it poked away, but bring him with a foul. And that will be the second team foul on Orem. We'll see if they give him shots. Holler missed the first free throw and has got 1 more. Front rim's his second, and the rebound to Cooper Holt. Hands to Quinn Peters, and Peters will bring it up for the Tigers. Strong start to the third quarter. Peters down the lane and gets the foul on Alec Monson. That'll be the second foul on Monson and puts Peters at the line. Peters made the first free throw. The foul went on Monson. That's his 2nd personal foul. And that's the first team foul on Olympus. As Peters makes them both, and it's back to a 7-point lead for the Tigers, led by 7 by a couple times here. As Lindsey front rims his shot, gets his own board, and then is fouled by Ethan Chatterley. That's the 3rd personal foul on Chatterley and the 3rd team foul on Orem. Spent a technical on Coach Barnes. Cooper Holt with the line made both of them. It's a 9-point lead, 41-32. Coach Barnes absolutely beside himself. Now here's a rule to remember. Coach Barnes cannot leave his seat for the remainder of the game with the technical foul. Inside Nixon, outside to Chatterley, looking for number 4. Back rims it, loose ball, and we're gonna go off of Orem and go with Olympus. Back after a timeout. Coach Barnes still very upset, but we got to move past it. 9-point lead, 41-32. Olympus has to get moving offensively. This game is right in the balance of getting away from them. Holler for 3, and that's off the mark. Rebound to Jake Lindsey. Lindsey goes right back at Holt, and we're gonna have a foul on Holt on the floor. and that'll be the fourth team foul on Orem and the third on Cooper Holt. Lindsay to inbound, gets it into Jake Holler, and Holler will back things out and start it up for the Titans. Holler on the wing to Williams, dropping inside to Monson. Monson, and one! The foul will go against Richard Harward. That'll be the second on Harward. The 15th foul on the Tigers. Monson going the line. Monson for the +1. Now a 6-point game, 41-35. Holt inbounds to Nixon. Full court pressure back on from the Titans, broken with Holt. Holt to Chatterley. Back to Holt. And here's Quinn Peters. Quinn Peters has 10 points, and here's Chatterley with 6. A lot of foul trouble on the board for the Tigers. 3 on Cooper Holt, 3 on Chatterley, 2 on Richard Harward. Younger brother Ian Harward. And there's going to be a foul on Spencer Williams as Holt hits the deck. 13th foul on the Titans. Nixon inbounds to Peters, drop it back in to Nixon. Kicked away by Williams, and Peters looking in again. Here's Nixon, outside to Peters. Peters driving on Lindsay. Jackknife it up and in. Nice take by Quinn Peters, and it's back to an 8-point game, 43-35. 4 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the third. Holler in the lane, into the corner, Williams for 3. Spencer Williams from downtown. Williams now with 8 points. Back to a 5-point game, 43-38. Quickly with Nixon in the lane, going on Monson, and a charge on Nixon. 16th foul on the Tigers. That's the first personal foul on Dalton Nixon. Will be in the bonus the remainder of the fourth quarter for the Titans. Going to be key to see how quickly this changes in the team fouls. Lindsay can't finish, followed up by Williams, can't get it. Loose ball picked up by Quinn Peters. We mentioned 16 fouls on Orem, 3 team fouls on Olympus, and how quickly does that become 6-6 or 7-6 will be interesting. Here's Chatterley into the corner to Cooper Holt. Holt down the baseline. Holt give it up to Harward, swatted away by Holler. That's the third time Harward gotten blocked at the rim. Holler outside Lindsay. Lindsay in the lane, float it, and it won't go. Not the night for Jake Lindsay. We mentioned in the open, Lindsay averaging 18 points a game. He's got 7. But a tough night for Lindsay. 3:15 remaining in the third. Here's Peters. Now Ethan Chatterley. Go to Holt, and nearly picked up by Williams, saved in by Holt to Chatterley. Cross court to Peters. Peters hands back to Chatterley, and again, he's going to set up the offense. We mentioned before he eat up a lot of clock here. Holt outside, Peters for 3. Number 3 for Quinn Peters. His first 3 since the first quarter. Peters now with 15. 46-38, 2:35 remaining in the third. Williams outside to Alex Williams. Try to go high post to Lindsay, goes off of his shin. And Holler fouls Chatterley from behind. Be the 14th foul on Olympus and the first on Holler. So after the foul on Holler, here's Chatterley. So our possession about 2:28, we're down to 2:20. Hands back to Quinn Peters. There's Chatterley. Again to Peters, cross court to Cooper Holt. In the quarter to Chatterley. High post Nixon. Now 32nd possession into the corner to Chatterley. Cross court to Holt. Holt for a deep 3. Cooper Holt from jimmer range. And it's 49-38. Cooper Holt gets off the schneid, now has 8 points. Timeout, Coach Barnes. Orem up on their feet, and they should be, leading by 11. 1:45 remaining in the third, 49-38 Tigers. 1:45 remaining in the third quarter. We'll see if we have another late minute burst here from Olympus. Williams for 3, that's short. Rebound, Monson, he lost it out of bounds. We'll go with Orem. Orem right on the verge of blowing this thing open. Get it in to Nixon. And back to Holt. 1.5 remaining in the third. Coach Holt handing out the 4-quarter sign. There's Peters rather. Try to reverse it to Holt. Ball's loose, that goes off of Olympus and will stay here. Peters the trigger. Has a ball inbound, tip by Haller. Haller made the impact right at the end of the half. Let's see if he can do it again here in the third. Up top, Williams on the angle, Seth Crofts. Gives to Williams. Had to adjust his shot as Harvard came out. Nice defense. Hard with the board and hands to Quinn Peters. 1 minute remaining in the third quarter. An 11-point lead for Orem. Nixon back to Holt. Holt hands back to Quinn Peters. And that pass is stolen by Crofts. Crofts going the other way. Crofts gives up the Haller. Had it out of his hands. The ball went off Olympus. Will stay here with the Titans. Lindsay to trigger. Gets it in. Spencer Williams for 3. That's short. Rebound to Quinn Peters. Been a long time since Monson and Lindsay have put up a shot for Coach Barnes. 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Role players taking big shots here for Olympus. As key players, Monson and Lindsay, haven't seen a lot of touches. Chatterley gives it up to Quinn Peters. 15 seconds remaining in the third. Down to 10. And a foul is going to go on Spencer Williams. That's the 15th foul on Olympus. Peters to trigger in, 9.2 remaining. Holt gets it back to Quinn Peters, 5 seconds now. Peters still looking, 3 seconds. Nixon, follow-away jumper on the baseline, too strong. And that'll send us to the fourth. The upset-minded Orem Tigers lead 49-38, heading to the fourth. Start of the fourth quarter. The Olympus student section showing their optimism with the "I believe that we will win" chant. Outside, Meacham for 3. What a way to start the fourth. Jordan Meacham comes off the bench and buries the triple. And it's an 8-point game, 49-41. Here's Chatterley. Terminates, gets it up top to Quinn Peters. And back to Chatterley. Seen this spaced out offense most of the night from Orem. Here's Peters. Gets it inside the Nixon. Working on Lindsay. Double comes. Meacham right there. Meacham gets on the floor. Takes it away. They get him to travel. Then he had possession on his knees. He stood up. And will inbound along the baseline. The officials got it right. You possess the ball on the floor with your knee on the floor. You've got to dribble on your way up. Or stay on the floor. So possession remains with Orem. Peters in the lane. Got caught in the air. Picked up by Jake Lindsay. Lindsay going the other way. 3-on-2. Lindsay to the cup. And can't finish. That kind of night for Lindsay. Monster with the board, swatted away by Peters. Great job by Quinn Peters coming down and making the play. Down the floor now with the Tigers. Chatterley gives up the Holt. See if Lindsay can keep his wits about him here, guarding Holt. Holt in the lane. Holt gives it up to Nixon. And Nixon with the flush. 51-41. Holler terminates outside Monson for 3. And it'll be a 3-point free throws. 3 free throws coming the way of Monson. The foul on Cooper Holt, his 4th. Monson split the first 2. He's got 1 more. H.E. comes onto the floor for Holt, who's got 4 personal fouls. We're in the bonus remainder of the fourth quarter. 6:30 remaining in the fourth. And an 8-point lead for the Tigers. Nixon gets away from the double team, gives it up to Chatterley. Now Quinn Peters. Long possessions expected from Orem. So you see most of the night from him. Nixon fouled by Lindsay. And that'll be the 16th foul on Olympus. That's the 3rd personal on Lindsay. Here's Peters. And inbound again, tipped by Haller. Out of bounds off Peters. And we'll go with Olympus. 6:14 remaining in the game. 8-point lead for Orem. Here's Lindsay. Been a tough night for Lindsay. To the cup and finish. Took the bump, didn't get the call. And now going to have a delayed game warning on Lindsay. After the delayed game warning, no technical fouls. The next one will be. As Peters able to break the press. 6 minutes now on the clock. Chatterley holds it up and goes to the top and set it up for Coach Holt and the Tigers. Here's Peters working on Seth Crofts. And Crofts called for the personal foul. And it'll be 1-on-1 free throws for Quinn Peters. Peters made the front end. And gets the second. Back up to 8 points, 53-45. 5:49 remaining in the fourth quarter as Holler hands off to Meacham. Meacham now to Lindsay. Lindsay again aggressively to the hole. And we're going to have a foul on Nixon. That'll be the second personal foul on Nixon. And 2 free throws come to Jake Lindsay. First free throw was good from Lindsay. And the second one goes down as well. 53-47. Again, full court pressure. And here's Zitri. Fans wanted to push off, they didn't get it. Here's Chatterley, back out to Peters. And Olympus got to play defense without fouling. Outside to Nixon. And for Orem, you can take long possessions, got to end them with buckets. Trap comes from Lindsay. Chatterley is tied up and stolen. Cross tips it out and has it and gives it up to Holler. Meacham back to Monson for 3. Off the front of the iron. It was online, couldn't finish. Harward still holding. Harward cross court to Peters. And timeout, Coach Holt. 5:09 remaining in the fourth, and it's 53-47 Orem. After the timeout from Coach Holt. Chatterley to inbound. Inbounds into Peters. Holler with him. In the front court, Peters. In near the 5-minute. Has back. 5 minutes now remaining in the fourth quarter. 2-possession game. Here's Harward, guarded closely by Lindsay. Trying to get it inside to Nixon. Holt back up top to Peters. Now back to Holt. Cross court. Chatterley for 3. Ethan Chatterley from downtown. He's got 9 points. All of them 3-pointers. Lindsay hard to the hole. And a foul. We'll see if it goes on Harward or Nixon. It'll be 2 free throws coming away to Jake Lindsay. Lindsay missed the first free throw and he's got 1 more. I thought he back could, but rattles it in. 56-48, 4:34 remaining in the fourth. Holt just gets it in before the 5-second call. Ahead to Peters, and now ahead to Harward. They get Peters with a travel. Thought he was pushed. Turnover will go back to Olympus. 4.5 now remaining in the fourth quarter. Here's Holler. He'll back it out. Seth Crofts, high post to Lindsay. Lindsay goes right back to the rim, can't finish. Rebound to Harward. Harward somehow keeping his pivot foot, jump ball, and a possession arrow belongs to Orem. Cooper Holt to inbound after the jump ball. And we're gonna have a foul away from the ball on the inbound on Meacham. It'll be 1-on-1 free throws coming to Orem. Peters been perfect from the line, made the first. And the second. To a 10-point lead. We mentioned Olympus had a chance to wrap up the #1 seed. Orem with the win could tie things up at the top of the region. Outside Monson for 3. And Alec Monson gets off the schneid in the second half. Hits a triple. Now with the game high 22. Halfway through the fourth. Up the floor with Peters, gives it up to Holt. 3:50 now on the clock. Give to Chatterley. And this is where we start to belabor the shot clock thing. And a foul on Seth Crofts. And it'll be 1-and-1 for Ethan Chatterley. Chatterley made the front end. And makes the second. Making big free throws down the stretch. 3:40 remaining in the fourth quarter and a 9-point lead for Orem. Lindsay for 3. Jake Lindsay lights it up from the outside. Timeout, Coach Barnes. The Titans won't go away quietly. It's 60-54, 3:35 remaining in the fourth. Full court pressure coming on for Olympus. Holt trying to get it in. Still looking to get it in. He runs the far side. 5 seconds. That's the second time this evening. Turnover, and Olympus will take over. Can Olympus get the stop and a bucket? Inbound, Monson. Monson in the lane, put it up, no, and a rebound to Nixon. Nixon's trapped along the baseline, intercepted by Crofts, can't finish. Rebound to Lindsay, goes up, and he's fouled. Didn't get the bucket, and Lindsay will go to the line to shoot 2 free throws. Lindsay made the first free throw. That's the 10th team foul on Orem. Double bonus for both teams for the remainder of the game. Hold inbounds into Chatterley. Trap comes and a foul on Spencer Williams. Williams now has 4, and it'll be 2 free throws for Ethan Chatterley. Chatterley made the first. And makes his second. 62-56. 3:15 remaining in the fourth. Monson. Holler now in the corner to cross, back to Holler. Jake Lindsay for 3. And Lindsay again from way outside. And it's a 3-point game, 62-59. Rolling clock now down to 3 seconds. Or 3 minutes, pardon me. Inbound into Nixon. And nearly stolen by Lindsay. The lid ready to come off the place. We have got quite a crowd on hand for this game, and we got a finish lined up for you here. Nixon nearly had it stolen by Monson. Got to be smart, and a foul on Olympus. 2 free throws coming to Nixon. Nixon missed the first free throw and has got 1 more. Splits the pair, 63-59. Lindsay brings it into the front court, hands back to Alec Monson. Now over to Holler. Got to work it through your biggest players, in my opinion. Here's Lindsay along the baseline. Get up to Holler, now to Crofts. Crofts outside Lindsay. Lindsay in the lane, out to Monson. Monson for 3. Alec Monson from downtown! And it's a 1-point game, 63-62. This place has gone berserk. You can't hear anything. Chatterley races into the front court, tries to reverse out, and gets it back to Peters. 2:05 on the clock, 1-point game. Holler over to Nixon. Nixon has his pocket picked and a whistle. That is a tough one against Lindsay. That's a 4 personal foul on Jake Lindsay, and Nixon goes back to the line. Nixon made the first free throw, he's got 1 more. Back rim, and a rebound to Holler, 64-62. It's been Lindsay and Monson on this end of the floor. Holler for 3. Gets his own board. Now Seth Crofts. Cross back to Lindsay. Lindsay hard to the hole, takes a bump, and will go to the line. The foul will go against Richard Harward. That's the first personal foul on Harward. And 2 free throws come to Lindsay. Now the one to tie. It was a tough night for Lindsay all evening. And in the fourth quarter, he's come alive. That's 22 points for Jake Lindsay. 15 points in the second half. Timeout, Orem. They built a new gym this year at Olympus. And there's not enough room to hold all the students. We got a packed house tonight. Cooper Holt inbound, tries to get in the Nixon and does. As we've got 1:35 remaining in the fourth quarter. Playoff basketball, you can expect a final shot in these type of situations. At least working for that one shot, and we'll see what Coach Holt decides to do. It was a 10-point lead at one point in the fourth quarter, and Olympus has chipped it away and tied it up at 64. Now 1:15 on the clock. Coach Barnes saying, come out and get him. Nixon dribbling around. Now down to 105. Here's Quinn Peters, now down to a minute. Coach Holt wanted to hold for the last shot. Quinn Peters to the top. Now down to 50 seconds. But what a comeback for Olympus. Kept on the attack. And there's some missed free throws from Orem as Peters goes back outside. Had a chance to score. Now down to 40 seconds. I'm going to belabor the point. To hold the ball for 1:35. It's hard to believe. Hold outside to Chatterley, now down to 30 seconds. In basketball, in sports, to hold the ball for 1:35 and not have to shoot the ball, the state has to look at this as good defense from Olympus not being rewarded and players not taking care of the game. Down to 10 seconds now. Here we go. It could all work right here with one shot. Peters down the lane. Outside Chatterley for the win. And it's blocked by Crofts. And we have out of bounds. You see they put any time on the clock. And they're saying Orem ball. Put .3 on the clock. One final play in regulation. Has to be a tip-in bucket. And that's tipped on the inbound. And we're heading to overtime. What a comeback in the fourth quarter for Olympus. We head to overtime. 4 quarters couldn't decide this one. We're tied at 64, heading to OT. Starting overtime. 4-minute period. And Olympus starts with the ball. Outside Lindsay. Here's Holler. Lindsay had that huge second half. He and Monson lighting up the outside, but it was Lindsay that started taking the ball to the hole, hitting free throws, and some big threes. Here's Holler. In the corner, Monson for 3. And it rims out a rebound a foul inside on Nixon. And that'll be Dalton Nixon's 3rd personal. And 2 free throws come to Spencer Williams. First free throw good from Spencer Williams. And the first lead for Olympus, we didn't keep track of that. But it's a 1-point lead for the Titans. 65-64. 3.5 remaining in overtime. Here's Quinn Peters. Trying to get inside to Nixon, now up top to Chatterley. Chatterley guarded by Seth Crofts. Chatterley way outside to Nixon. Nixon up top with Chatterley. Had 3 threes in regulation. Now Cooper Holt. Holt playing with 4 fouls. He and Harward both with 4 fouls for Coach Holt. Now down to 3 minutes. There's Nixon, pump fake, working on Monson in the lane, working on his pivot foot, and 1! Dalton Nixon got the bump and bucket. He'll go to the line looking for the 3-point play. 4th personal foul on Alec Monson, that's a big one. Nixon at the line, rattles in the +1, and it's 67-65. Holler into the front court. Holler cross court to Lindsay. Lindsay working on Holt. Shakes him out of his boots, gives up to Monson, who can't finish. What a move by Lindsay. Alec Monson couldn't finish. They're bored and down the floor now with Orem, with 2.5 remaining in overtime. Nixon terminates, trap comes. Nixon off the window and good. Nice take and finish by Dalton Nixon. And it's a 4-point lead, 69-65. Williams gives it to Holler. Holler now to Lindsay. Off the screen across. Lindsay pirouette in the lane to the hole and finish. Lindsay gives it up to Cooper Holt. It's been a tough spot tonight for Orem. Get in to Peters, and now Peters will walk up the front court. And again, not having to shoot, they can force Olympus to foul him to get the ball back. Here's Nixon, back to Peters. Down to 140. Peters, Nixon on the baseline. Oh, wrap around to Harward. Harward finishes. Beautiful find from Nixon. And it's 71-67. Lindsay, heart of the hole, gets around Harward and finishes. Jake Lindsay coming alive. 19 points since halftime. Inbound into Peters. Off of Crofts, and we'll go with Orem. 1:15 remaining. Olympus has forced 2 5-second calls. Now they get it into Peters. Turns right into Crofts, and the trap's there with Williams. Gets it up to Chatterley, now cross court to Holt. 1:05 now on the clock. Nixon hands back to Holt. 1 minute remaining. High post to Nixon. Working on Lindsay. Left hand won't go. Rebound to Lindsay. 50 seconds now on the clock and a chance to tie or take the lead. Monson for the lead. Alec Monson from downtown. 72-71. The lid has come off the place at Olympus. Nixon ahead to Peters. Peters backs it out. Peters on the baseline is trapped. Got to Harward. Harward up and finishes. Orem with the lead, 73-72. 20 seconds down the clock as Lindsay brings it in the front court. They can clinch the region or tie. Lindsay to the hole. No call. Board to Nixon. And Nixon is fouled. 7.7 remaining There's got to be a three to send it to double overtime. Inbound into Lindsay. Lindsay, 5 seconds, and he's fouled by Peters, and a smart decision by Orem. Lindsay missed the first free throw. 5.3 remaining. And he lips out the second. Rebound to Harward. And out with a foul. The 3.9, they'll send the big fella to the line. Harward made the first free throw, and he's got one more. It's now a 4-point lead, 76-72. As he back rims his second, board to Meacham with Lindsay. And Lindsay's shot is off the mark, and Orem comes to Olympus and now ties themselves atop of the Region 7 standings with a 76-72 win in overtime over Coach Barnes' Olympus Titans. What a game between these two teams. What a comeback at the end of the fourth quarter for Olympus. What a gutsy win for Orem. Our final score, Orem 76, Olympus 72. Stay tuned for our post-game wrap-up. And welcome back to Olympus. Again, our final score, the Orem Tigers 76, the Olympus Titans 72. And as we mentioned, both teams now with 2 losses in region play. They are tied atop the region standings. They split the regular season. Orem winning here at Olympus, and Olympus winning at Orem earlier last month in January. And now 1 game remaining for Orem. They've got to go and win at Skyline. If they were to lose that game, tonight's all for naught. The season is done for Olympus. They are now waiting to see what happens on Tuesday night with the Orem Tigers and the Skyline Eagles. So they'll be cheering for their rivals, the Skyline, to get the big win. But what a night tonight between these two teams. Orem came out and played very, very well. They had a lead most of the game, got up to 7 points early, went down early, I think 12-11, and then never didn't relinquish the lead until late in the fourth quarter. And what a game from both of these teams to go back and forth. Dalton Nixon played outstanding for Orem. Quinn Peters, from start to finish, played an outstanding game, a terrific game from Peters. But you're talking about the Olympus Titans, we're talking about another guys who have to step up and play well, and many did. But it was Monson in the first half and Jake Lindsay with 26 points in the second half, able to gear the comeback for the Olympus Titans and sent this game into overtime. But in overtime, just didn't have enough firepower as Monson hit the big three to put them up 72-71. It was Harward with the bucket. Lindsay missed a tough shot, thought he was fouled, didn't get the call. And then it was the Tigers closing the game out at the free throw line. And Quinn Peters and then the big fella Harward made the free throw to make it 76-72. And that's our final score. Our player of the game is going to go to Quinn Peters. Nixon had an outstanding game, but Peters came in and gave really the stability to this team for Orem when Cooper Holt wasn't having his best night. Quinn Peters certainly did, and what a night for Jake Lindsay. Could have gotten in a losing effort tonight, but played terrific for the Olympus Titans. The 4A playoffs are right around the corner. We're going to have them for you here on High School Rewind, but what a way to finish out the season for Olympus. A tough night tonight for them. We'll see them in the 4A playoffs, and for Orem High, they're looking for that #1 seed and looking for revenge from last season. Again, our final score, the Orem Tigers 76, the Olympus Titans 72. For Doug Jardine, I'm Dusty Lister. Thanks for joining us and watching High School Rewind, only on Xfinity On Demand.